She raised me from the day I could walk and talk. Everyone called her my mother, and I called her that too, but something always felt missing. Our house was quiet, not peaceful, just quiet. She cooked for me, washed my clothes, and made sure I went to school on time. From the outside, everything looked normal. Inside, I felt invisible. She never hugged me when I was scared. She never smiled when I did something good. When I brought home good marks, she only said, "Okay." When I cried, she said, "Stop being weak." I learned very early that love was not something I should expect. I learned to stay quiet, to not ask questions, and to not hope too much. At school, I watched other children run into their mother's arms. I watched mothers kiss their children's heads and ask about their day. I wondered what that felt like. Sometimes I imagined it. Sometimes, at night, I pretended she cared. But in the morning, reality returned. She was not cruel, but she was cold. Her words were sharp, and her eyes were always tired. I once asked her if she loved me. She looked away and said nothing. That silence hurt more than any harsh word. From that day, I stopped asking. I grew up fast. I learned to depend on myself. I learned to hide my feelings. I told myself that love was not necessary, that survival was enough. Still, deep inside, there was a small part of me that hoped. A small part that waited. One evening, as I sat alone in my room, I realized something important. My story was not finished yet. Maybe the love I never received would shape who I became. Maybe my pain had a purpose I did not understand yet. White right pointing backhand index asterisk asterisk. If you want to know what happened next and how this silence changed my life, listen to video asterisk. As the years passed, I stopped expecting warmth from her. I moved through the house like a shadow, careful not to make noise, careful not to need anything. She noticed my presence only when something was wrong. If a glass broke, her voice was sharp. If I came home late, her eyes were cold. But when I succeeded, when I tried my best, she remained silent. I began to understand her routine. She woke up early, left the house without a word, and returned tired. Sometimes she sat alone, staring at nothing. I wondered what kind of life had made her this way. Still, she never shared her thoughts with me. Between us, there was always a wall made of silence. At school, I became quiet but observant. I listened more than I spoke. Teachers said I was mature for my age. They did not know that maturity came from loneliness. Friends talked about their families, their laughter, their problems. I smiled and nodded, hiding my truth behind simple words. One afternoon, I fell sick and stayed home. She checked my temperature, gave me medicine, and left the room. No gentle words, no comfort. That night, I lay awake, feeling weak and small. I realized that care without love feels empty. It keeps you alive, but it does not heal you. As I grew older, questions filled my mind. Why did she choose to raise me if she did not love me? Was I a burden she accepted out of duty? Or was there a story she never told me? I wanted answers, but fear stopped me. I was afraid that the truth would hurt more than the silence. One day, I found an old photograph hidden in a drawer. It showed a younger version of her, standing beside a woman I did not recognize. On the back, there was a date and a name written in faded ink. My heart beat faster. I felt that this picture was a key to something important. For the first time, I understood that her coldness might not be about me alone. Maybe she was carrying pain too heavy to share. That thought did not erase my loneliness, but it changed it. I was no longer The photograph stayed in my mind for days. I waited for the right moment, watching her closely. One evening, when the house was unusually quiet, I finally gathered the courage to ask her about it. My voice shook, but I did not stop. I placed the photograph on the table between us. For a long moment, she said nothing. Her hands trembled slightly as she picked it up. Then, for the first time in my life, I saw tears in her eyes. She sat down slowly, as if the weight of many years had suddenly returned to her shoulders. She told me the truth in a low, tired voice. The woman in the photograph was her sister. I was not her child by blood. I was her sister's son. My mother had died when I was very young, and she had taken me in without thinking twice. But she was not ready. She had lost her sister and her freedom at the same time. Raising me became a reminder of everything she had lost. She admitted that she did love me in her own way, but she did not know how to show it. Pain had closed her heart long before I could understand it. Silence was the only language she knew. Listening to her, something inside me broke, but something else healed. For years, I believed I was unlovable. Now I understood that her coldness was never a measure of my worth. It was a reflection of her wounds. That night, the house felt different. Still quiet, but lighter. She did not suddenly become warm or affectionate, and I did not expect her to. But there was honesty between us for the first time. And that was enough to begin again. If this story touched your heart, stay with me. There are many silent stories like this, and sometimes, understanding is the first step toward healing. Keep listening, keep learning, and never forget, your worth is not defined by the love others fail to give.